Hey friends, it's me, Gigi, and I am back with part two of how I beat my DUI case. Again, it wasn't me, it was all God. It was all God. I had no doings in this. I just did what He asked me to do, trust and believed in Him, and knew that I was going to win this case, and I did. But I know that we left off with me telling you that I did get arrested again this year, 2022, August. But I wanted to let you know so that you knew in the last video that, again, it wasn't over. And this is why I had to do a part two, because this, again, is a whole story in itself. And let's just jump right into it. So again, I told you that when they took my license and they had it for a longer time than usual, he came back telling me that I had a warrant. I was like very confused because, again, in my mind, 3 years ago, 2019, this case was dismissed, and now here I am, 2022, still saying that I have a warrant out for my arrest for a case that I expected to be dismissed. So when they told me that they had to bring me in my mind, I'm just thinking like, okay, like it is what it is. I told you I wasn't even upset at all. I got out the car, I put my sweater and my sneakers on, and they put me in handcuffs. Oh, I didn't tell you guys in the last story that when, I'm sorry, but I gotta talk about this because this just had me thinking about it. So when they arrested me in 2018 and they put me in the back of the truck, I always said that if I ever was to get arrested, that I would want to see if I could get my hands from behind me to the back of me. And I always thought that I could because I would always go like this and go like, but they cuff you from here. So I'm in the back like this, and I unbuckled myself and tried to like wiggle my way through, and it was not happening. There was no way I could get myself through that hole when it's like this. So he got in the car to unbuckle me, and when he went to unbuckle me, I just was like, like I was just minding my business. But I was like, I had a split second by it from the time they got out the car to come around to try to like wiggle my way through, and it was not happening. And so, but I had to say that because I just thought about that when they put me in handcuffs this time. But so they arrested me, they put me in the back of the truck, and we were on our way to wherever they was taking me. So this time, this was JoJo. Like there was no little trailer, no Walmart, no nothing. Like I was going to jail. So I get there, and all I could think about, because I had a head wrap on, right? And all I could think about is the fact that I got like these Coolio braids up under this wrap. Like I'm about to have to take this wrap off, and it is what it is at this point. So we get there, and they're like processing everything in, like my purse and everything that's in there, and we're kind of having like small talk with the people, letting them, like they were asking, like, because my license still say New York, so we talk about like I'm a Bills fan and stuff like that. Like I was in good spirits. I told y'all in the last video that I knew that the enemy wanted me to say that God has forsaken me, because I know where He's taking me. And when like when the enemy knows that God is taking you somewhere and you're doing what you're supposed to do to go down that path, he wants to try to throw any and everything that he can at you to get you to be thrown off. So I wasn't going to give him that satisfaction. So I stayed content. I stayed in good spirits, and they just basically processing everything in, making sure I don't have anything in my pockets, stuff like that. I think I had to do a cup test, a P test. I'm not sure. I think I did. But I had to do that, and I had to do mug shots. Now, last time, I don't think I had mug shots the last time, but now this time, I'm like, dang, I'm gonna have to take this wrap off. I got the Julia braids, and I'm gonna have to do a mug shot. Like, it's about to be all bad. And I had to stop using sunscreen because I didn't think that I needed it anymore. And like, my whole face was burnt. So now I have like, So now I have scar, like burnt scabs all right here, all on my neck, and like all on the side of this side of my face. So I'm like, this is just about to be all bad. So they were like, she was like, take your wrap off, and I just feel like everybody in there was just like, just waiting to see what was going on up under there, and I just was like, pop. And I didn't care. Braids went everywhere, so I just started taking them out. Right. So it was only like it was a good maybe 10. It was like a good 7 to 10 braids in there. So I was like, I'm just gonna start. It was probably more, but I was like, just start taking them out. She's like, oh, you ain't gotta take them out. And I was like, oh no, it's okay. So I was trying to take them out before my mugshot so that I can at least have like a little afro, but I wasn't fast enough. So I only took out this half, and on this side was still Coolio braids, and so now they're like, okay, come take your mugshot. So I'm like, clearly this side is like you see half poof, half braids. This side is just braids, and this side is just poof, all bad. So I'm just like, still, I'm like, in my mind, I kept saying, he says we gotta live in humility and confidence, humility and confidence. So I'm not gonna even sweat it. It is what it is. What can I do? There's absolutely nothing that I can do, so I'm not going to be upset about it. I'm not going to stress about it. I'm not going to worry about it. It is what it is. So they take me in the back, and it's literally like them keys, them big old keys that they got where they stick them in the door and lock it and unlock it. Like that was literally the type of keys that they had, which was actually pretty dope because I didn't think that I thought they had like buttons where they just open the doors and stuff, but no, it was like legit keys. So it was interesting seeing that. But so I go into the cell, and then when I go in, it's two other ladies in there. It's a black lady at the bottom. Like they're literally like, so um, so I had to walk in through the first door with the key. He unlocked the first door with the key, and then the second door I think was automatic, and he let me in. So when I walk in, it's like a toilet on the side, and then straight in. It's like literally like a rectangle. On the two sides, it was like metal bunk beds, no cushion, no nothing, just like metal. And it was a black lady at the bottom and a Mexican lady on the other bottom. So I'm just standing up because in my mind, like I'm a germaphobe. I ain't want to touch nothing. I ain't want to sit on nothing. So with the two beds, the toilet, and then it was a table on this side with like two little stool chairs that was like I think cemented to the ground. So I just leaned on the table the entire time. So I'm standing there, and I was like, I see that they have a phone, so I was gonna call my mom, but then I thought about the last time, so I was like, you know what, I'm not even gonna call nobody. I'm just gonna um, just wait it out because there's nothing anybody can do right now, so I'm just gonna wait it out. So I stood there, and I'm like, they went to sleep. It was 1 o'clock. It was, but they stopped me at 1 o'clock in the morning. When I got there, it was about 2:30, 2 to 2:30 ish, probably like 2:30 in the morning. So I'm standing there. I'm like, they want to sleep. Like I want to talk. I want to be like, what y'all in for? Like I'm here. Like what's going on? Like, and I'm not gonna stand. So I just finished taking my hair out, and they had like a little mirror, which really wasn't a mirror because you couldn't really see yourself. It was just like a aluminum type of rectangle that was there, and I just continued to take my hair out, and the toilet was like clogged up with tissue in it. And I'm like thinking in my head, like, yo, this is just bad crazy. So when I went to use the phone, I asked the lady, I was like, do you know how to use this phone? She was like, no. And I'm like, dang, like they don't even want to talk. So I'm like, whatever, you ain't gotta talk to me. And um, so um, so I continued to just sit there, take my hair out. So I was monitoring. They had to come and do checks. So I was monitoring the amount of times they do checks because I remember um, to see if they was coming in like every hour or every half hour, just to kind of keep a track of the time. So um, I heard the doors open and they brought another lady in there. So she came in there. I guess it could be 4 people to a cell. And she came in there, older white lady, and she was basically saying like, you know, this is what she do. She been in here many times. She was giving me the rundown of like what to expect and stuff. She ain't really talk that much, but like she gave me enough to be kind of aware. She's like, breakfast comes at 5, so that's how I was kind of like keeping the track of time as well. So when they did bring breakfast, I was like, okay, it's 5 o'clock, because when I asked them, I'm like, so how long am I gonna be here? It's like, you'll be out by the morning. So I'm thinking 7, 8, 9 o'clock, I'll be gone. So me thinking that, the lady was like, that came, oh gosh, she literally crawled up like this and got under the bed. Like there's space to get under the bunk beds. But when I say it's like food all on the floor, it's food all on the bunk beds. It was nasty. Like it was just nasty. Like literally, I stood in my own little corner in my own, like literally. So when she was up under there, I'm like, Lord, you better than me. So she was freezing. She's like, can I use your sweater? So I had like this black long sweater, and like it's my go-to sweater because it's easy to just throw on, and it's long and it's wool. So I'm like, well, and I only had a tank top on under that, so I didn't have anything else. Like I only had a tank top. But mind you, me thinking I'm gonna be out of here by 7, 8, 9 o'clock. I'm like, you know what? I'll be nice and I'll let her have it. So I'm like, you can use my sweater. I was like, you can use it. So she put it on and she like crawls up under the back up under the bed, and in my mind I'm like, oh, it's hers now, because I wasn't gonna take it back no way, but that solidified it. Her crawling up under that bed with all them is yours. So it was a woman guard that came in to do the check, and she was like, did you give her your sweater? And I was like, yeah. She's like, you guys can't swap. I was like, well, if you want to throw it out, you can, because I'm not gonna take it back. And then she just kind of got quiet, which I feel like she just wanted to take it away, like to just be petty, because she kept coming in there telling her, oh, you can't be under the bed, you can't, like, she was just making chaos for no reason. So now I'm just standing there. In my mind, I'm just thinking about Paul and Silas, and I'm like, hey, this will be over soon. God always gets me through everything. I'm gonna make it through. Like, it is what it is. So they bring breakfast, and so now I'm like, okay, 5 o'clock. Well, we got a couple more hours between it gets at least 9 o'clock. So now I'm like, I'm just gonna take the later time and say 9. I'm like, by 9 o'clock, I should be out of here, or at least seeing a judge. So they come in doing a walk, so I'm just keeping a track of time, and they call these names. So they call names. It's I think it's like two other cells with the same amount of people in it going that way. But throughout the whole night, everybody coughing and stuff. So when I say I'm just in a, Lord, just keep me covered, because, ugh. But they call these names, and my name wasn't called. So I'm sitting there like, okay, what's going on? It's 9 o'clock, and I'm not, like, what's going on? So I'm trying to talk to these people. When I say it was Mesa police, like, they're just so rude. They don't, like, I'm asking them questions, don't even want to talk, don't want to, like, give you no type of information. And I'm just like, I've never been in the actual jail system before. Like, I have no idea what's going on. Like, all I'm asking is, like, what's going on? And it's like basically trying to say, like, hang tight and all this stuff, but whatever. So when they call those names, I at this point I gotta use the bathroom, but I wasn't using that bathroom because it was clogged. I was hoping that they'd take me out and let me use the bathroom that I used before, because you can go in. Like, this one, you just pee in front of everybody, and there's a camera there, and I'm just like, eh. But he's like, well, we'll put you in a new cell. We'll put you in one of the cells when they leave. But in my mind, I'm like, they was in there coughing all night. Like, you about to just put us in that cell, and there's no windows, no nothing. Like, so when they come to put us in there, I'm like, is y'all gonna spray or something? And he's like, get in there. And I'm just like what? Like, this is really how y'all treating these people here? Like, nobody's disinfecting nothing. Nobody is cleaning nothing. Like, y'all just don't, like, y'all really just don't care. Like, wow. So now I'm in there, and I didn't even use the bathroom. I just waited out. I stood there, and now time is like, it's like 10. No, because they actually came at 8. So now it's like 9:30 by the time they come. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And the girl that I was telling you about, and the lady that I was telling you about that I gave my sweater to, she was like giving us the run. They're probably transferring us to the Phoenix main jail because that's where your case has to be processed in because of the DUI case, and it wasn't here. So I'm like, wow, that's not like they didn't tell me that last night, but whatever. So now it comes down to them transferring me, and she was like, because I was letting her know, I'm like, they made me take my hair wrap off. She was like, they can't do that like for religious reasons. So I went with it. I'm like, for religious reasons, like I need to have my hair wrapped back. I need my hair wrapped. So when I go out there, I'm like, well, for religious reasons, can I get my hair wrapped? And they was like, well, they're like, well, we don't like. Someone wasn't talking. It was the lady cop. It was the lady cop who was actually like trying to work with me, and she was like, well, we'll see when we get there. So now I just got a poof. Don't know how it really looked because I couldn't see in the mirror. And now because they're transferring us, they're putting shackles on our feet and on our hands, and we gotta like walk out to the car, and it's other people that was with us. So now, it's me and another girl. It was only us two left in the cell that we were in, and then now another girl comes in with us as we're getting shackled, and it was a couple guys, but they took the guys out first, and then they took us. So you know how I don't know if you ever seen prisoners walk with shackles on their feet, but they do this like type of walk, and I was like, I'm not walking like that. Like it did hurt around my ankle because the way they put it on, but I'm like, I ain't folding. I'm gonna walk up in this thing, walk up out this thing, and up in this thing, like, and in my mind I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. But on the outside, you would have never even known because I'm like, I'm not doing this. This is not partaking me. I'm not falling into this lifestyle. So I was just refusing to walk like a what is it, like a penguin or something to that extent that you had to like kind of waddle because of the way they shackled it. I'm like, no, I'm gonna walk. And so we get in and they have where it's us three on this side, and they have like a something between us to where you can't see the guys, and then the guys are on the other side. And so now it's the girl who I gave my sweater to, and now I'm thinking like I didn't give this girl my sweater. Now I'm being transferred somewhere else with this little tank top on. Now I'm gonna be cold, and she gonna be all nice and snuggled and warm, and here I am just gonna be freezing. So it's another girl sitting on the side of us, and on the way there, we got to talking, and she was only like I think 18 or 19, and she was just like, this was her first time being in jail, but she'd been through a lot. And again, this was like another reason why I wasn't upset, because I knew that this would be an opportunity for me to be able to have conversations with people, and really just be able to be that comfort zone for other people who might not have that anywhere else. So I didn't really think of it in a selfish way of like, why is this happening to me? I used it as an opportunity of how I can help someone else. So we just were talking, and I was like, let me ask you a question. I said, be honest with me. I said, do my hair look crazy? And she looked at me, she was like, yeah. And I was like, well, thanks for being honest, like. So I'm like, here, I'm just about to put this joint in 2 braids. So I slid I was like, let me see if I could take these cuffs off my hands. And I was able to. I have really small wrists. So I slid the cuffs off my hands. I only did one because I only needed to just be free off of one. So I slipped it off because I could not. I tried to braid it with them on, and it was just not working. So I was like, let me see if I can take it off. And I took one off, and I put it in 2 braids. And I was like, did this look a little bit better? And she was like, yeah. But I had to work with what I had to work with. So I was like, I'd rather it be in 2 braids than it just being all over the place. And so we get to the place where they were transferring us to, and we had to get processed again there because it's another jail system. So we go in, and they're taking off my cuffs and stuff, and in my head I'm singing like, take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. I just like, this is what I'm thinking in my head, and I'm sitting there like literally cracking up and like chuckling there. So we go through the process and everything, and we get in. We gotta go do a P test there. I know for sure we have to do one there, and they give you like these little lunches of like literally like a wheat roll, some cookies, and a little pack of jelly, and a pack of peanut butter. And that's what they was giving people for lunch. Literally for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's what they was giving people. But this crazy part about it is Thursday, out of the blue, like I had just said, like, I'm gonna fast Friday. Didn't know why, but something like just was like, okay, Holy Spirit was like, you're gonna fast Friday, and this was before the cops even came to me. Like, you're gonna fast. So, I was already fasting, so I didn't eat anything anyways because I'm gluten sensitive, so I couldn't have had any of it anyways. But the fact that I had said that I was gonna fast was just like crazy to me. So I knew, like, this is, it's a part of the plan. I'm not worried. So now when I say this was the longest process ever, we got there at like 10:30, 11, and it was so long. So now I'm like, am I gonna be able to get my hair wrapped? So she ended up giving me a towel. She's like, I'll give you a towel. I'm like, I'll take it. So I wrapped my little towel around my head, and but before I had to take my mugshot first. So at least I got two braids now. Um, but my face was still burnt. But I'm like, whatever. At least I got two braids. So she gave me my towel. They would put my towel around my head, but I had to walk in with everybody out there without it. So it defeated the purpose, anyways. But so we sat down and we had to wait to be called to see the nurses, and they just did like vitals and stuff like that. So when I get over there, I'm like, she's getting ready to put all this stuff on me. I'm like, you're not gonna wipe none of that down. And she kind of got an attitude that I asked her to wipe the stuff down, and I'm just like, you're literally like, you're not supposed to. If people don't have their own like equipment, like a blood pressure cuff and stuff, they don't have their own. You're supposed to wipe it down after each person, and they do not be doing that. Like, this is why so much stuff is spreading, because people are not taking the proper precautions of cleanliness. So I get my blood pressure stuff done, and I get my mugshot and stuff done, and we still have to sit over there. So when you're sitting over there, you gotta wait to be called to go into the main another holding part before you can even get called into the part to see the judge. So I get called to go in the back. Now it's like 12:01, and back there is where you can like use the phones and stuff like that. But I was like, I'm not touching none of these phones. It ain't happening. So I sat there. When I say it's so cold in there, like, it was freezing. Like, I just kept thinking, I hate being cold. I just kept thinking, like, Lord, I thank you. Lord, I thank you. Like, you're just gonna get me through this. I believe you're gonna get me through this. I was like doing like push-ups in my seat and squats and stuff just to like build up some heat to my body. And we just literally sitting there. We have a conversation with other people that was there. Some other people came in. Like, we would laugh and stuff like that. Like, it wasn't all bad because of the fact, other people was there, and people were like just talking about why they were there. But everybody else had stories, but I was the only one who literally did not have a story, because I'm like, I'm here off of a case that I thought was dismissed. So now that I'm in the part before I go into the one to see the judge, one of the ladies comes up to me and was like, well, your case have been pushed back because it's not a serious case until 11 p.m. And mind you, it's 1 o'clock right now. So I won't be able to go see the judge until 11 p.m. And she's like, and August 5th is my goddaughter's birthday. So I didn't even get to wish her a happy birthday on her birthday. I had to wait until I got out the next day. So she was like, but you can pay a $700 bond to get out right now. And I'm like, you must be out your mind if you think that I'm about to pay $700. You literally saying that you arrested me just for me to pay you $700? That don't even make sense. And I don't even know why I'm here. No, that's not happening. I was like, I'll be okay. I'll wait it out. And she's like, because if you see the judge at 11, you won't get out of here until like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, literally the process that they have to do all this is crazy. Like, it's really crazy. So I finally get to go in the back where I see the judge. But again, I knew that I wasn't seeing the judge until 11. Everybody else was getting processed and all that. Some of us was together. Some people had time separately. So basically, when you see the judge, and if you have a bond, you can pay the bond and get out. But if you don't have the money to pay the bond, you gotta stay. Luckily, when I seen the judge, she basically was saying like, I have to apply to go to court, be present in court, and all that, and just sign. So that's basically what I was there all that time for them to just give me a piece of paper saying that I will show up in court. And So now you get your paper, and I seen her at 11. So now we're done about 11:30, and now we get to the part where you get processed out. But that process takes forever again. So from 11 to 3:45 ish, I was just sitting in another part waiting to be released, and still sitting there freezing. Still, but while like through this, I'm able to talk to people. I got some people Facebooks and stuff like that to be able to reach out to them, and that was most important to me. Like that was really most important to me. But I asked them like, do they? Because they had the orange jumpsuits, and I'm like, I just want a souvenir. Like, can I just take one home? And they was like, no. So, by the time we got to be able to be processed out, I done fell asleep. So now they kept calling my name. So now I'm up, and I'm like, okay, let's let me get up out of here. But it's 3:40 something in the morning, and it's pitch black dark out there. There's no lights. Luckily, they let all the women out together. But even still, like, you're letting women out on a road. Like, when they said, like, you can't even get picked up on the road where they let you out. You got to walk down to a separate parking lot for people to pick you up, if you have people to pick you up. I didn't have nobody to pick me up. And I didn't even have no bus fare, no cash to pay for the bus or nothing. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like my option was to take the bus back, but even to get to the nearest bus station was a walk. But luckily we all walked together. We walked down this like railroad track to get to the nearest gas station. And when we got there, there was other people out there just talking and stuff. One of the girls I was talking to, she ended up getting in a cab with somebody else, and this lady comes up to me and we were talking, and she asked me if I wanted a bus pass, and I'm like, wow, that's so nice. Like, yes, please, and thank you. She gave me a bus pass that she already had, and everybody else was like, you good and stuff, and I told them like, yeah, I'll be good. I'm like, God, I got God on my side. I'm always gonna be good no matter what, because I know God got me. And the other lady, she was like, I know that's right, and I'm like, yes, it is. So I didn't have so I'm waiting to see like what time the bus comes, because at this time again it's like 4 something in the morning. So now other people that was taking the bus, they were like, you can get a courtesy ride if you just got out of jail. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just do that to get back to my car, because thankfully they let me leave my car where I was so that I can just come back and get it. So I had to go back to my car, which was like 45 minutes away driving. So it took me a couple hours to get back to where my car was. And when I got back to my car, all I can say, like literally, every time I get like a process of something gets done, I say, Lord, I thank you because you allowed me to make it. And that's all I could think about, like, Lord, you allowed me to make it. So I got back to my car, and I looked up like what days I could go to court, because I'm like, they had me going to court, I want to say this was August. They had me going at the end of August, and I was like, I don't want to go at the end. Like, I want to know what's going on now. So I got out the 6th, which was I don't even know what day that was, but the 5th was a Friday, so the 6th was a Saturday. That Tuesday, I went to court just to see what was going on, and apparently they reopened the case in July of 2019. But I'm like, I've been stopped before. I was in the courts September of 2019, because they told me that my license was suspended and I had to get that resolved due to the case of the 2019 case. And I was still in the courts and nobody said anything to me. I'm like, 3 whole years went by and nobody said nothing to me about this case. Like, I would have never allowed it to go this long. Like, I would have went, because anybody trying to get arrested for no warrant, anybody trying to have no warrant out for their arrest either. So she was letting me know like they did reopen it in July, and that I would basically have to go through the process again of getting a public defender and all that. So I'm like, all right. I walked out of there just believing that God is going to work it all out. So now that I got a better understanding of what's going on, this is when I called like my mom and them and let them know like what happened and everything. So I talked to her about it, but I was in really good spirits. So like, it wasn't even nothing bad. Like, she kind of felt bad about it, but she heard like how I looked about it. And two, like I always say that I wanted to help the jail systems. Like I've always said, like I want to be able to better help the jail systems for some reason. Like I've never really liked, I never knew how jail was on the inside, but for some reason I just wanted to help it. And I felt like, how can I better help if I've never experienced it? So um, now this is Tuesday. When I say Wednesday, actually Thursday, no, Friday. Friday, I woke up Friday and started feeling like a little itch in my throat. And by Friday night, when I say I felt like I was hit by a truck, like it was ridiculous. I couldn't, like I was in so much pain, and like it was just all bad. So I had never had COVID before, even in 2020, like when all this was going down, like I never had COVID. And now this time come around, I'm like, wow, this is crazy because now I might have COVID literally, and I know it was from being in that jail system, which is disgusting because there's no way you have all these people together and not taking precautions, cleanliness precautions to keep the spread of it within the jail system. It's just wrong. So I was down for like 3 days, didn't eat, but I was going on my way to Buffalo on the 17th, and my case was my first court case was August 20 something, but luckily they let me know that I can call in. Um, so I went to Buffalo, and when I called in, I took tests there because I didn't know for sure. I was feeling better. Like I was only down for 3 days, those 3 days, and then I was fine. But when I got there, there's like you should take a COVID test, and I did, and it came back positive. So I quarantined to stay away from everybody. In my own little space, and I had like Lysol spray that I would just spray every time I went to the bathroom or did anything. I was just like carrying it with me. So I actually went for my family reunion and for my for my grandmother's repassing, but I didn't get to go to the family reunion because my test came back positive, and I just didn't. Even though I didn't feel bad, and that like the days have been past that I was feeling better, I still was like, I'm just gonna take precaution and not go be around, because if I knew that I had COVID, I mean, if someone else knew that they had COVID and came around me, like I would be upset as well. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that. So I just chilled for a little bit, and then um, I came back in September because I came back right before my next case because I wanted to go in person. Like again, like the last case, like this is my life. Like I'm not here to play. I'm here to be serious. But when I had my phone conversation in August in Buffalo, I talked to a new public defender, and this public defender was like night and day. Like this one, he was like all for it. I let him kind of do his whole spiel. He didn't know the the extent of it because right now, because they arrested me, it looks like I was arrested for a DUI. Like nothing from 2019 was showing up. So people were sending me stuff, letters in the mail, like for an interlock system and all this stuff. I had even applied to be a B group leader for Transformation Church for the teens, and I feel like they didn't send me out a denial letter, but they never reached back out to me, and I feel like that was part of the reason because they do background checks on you, and if it shows that I got arrested for a DUI, even though that wasn't the case, that's just what it shows. They're not gonna, you know, qualify me for it. So like I feel like it was just like all bad because it looked like I had just gotten arrested for a DUI, which wasn't the case. So when he was talking to me about it, he was basically going over the whole spiel again of plea deals and all this stuff. So once he got done talking, I let him know, like, this was a 3-year process. Like 2019 and got dismissed. I'm like, I kept all my paperwork. I have everything. I've done my drug screening. I've done my the process of getting my license unsuspended. Like everything that I needed to do was done already, and like there's no way that this should be happening right now because of the fact that it's been open in July of 2019 when I've been pulled over before. I've been asked for my ID and no one ever said anything about me having a warrant until this time. It just didn't make sense to me. So I was talking to him like, we gotta like I want to figure it out. So he was like, okay, that's good because I didn't know that. Like I didn't know the extent of it. So he's like, no, I'm glad you're letting me know. He's like, because what it sounds like is that they failed to reach out to you. Like they didn't do enough to serve you papers, and by law they have to do more to serve you papers. 3 years he's like 3 years is just unquestionable of you not knowing you had a warrant out. And he's like, that doesn't make sense. So he's like, it looks like we can get this case dismissed and be done with it. So I'm just praying. I'm like, I believe God is going to work it out. If he did it before, he going to do it again. And so we meet when I come back to Arizona, and he's like, I'm still waiting for the prosecutors to send me all the information. He hadn't had like the 2019 details. He only had the details of the case from me being arrested. He's like, he's waiting for all of the evidence that they had to be sent over so that he can look through it and we can go from there. And I was letting him know, like, I got like a lot of paperwork. So he was taking pictures and documenting a lot of stuff that I had, just to kind of make it easier. And these dogs are going back and forth, which made it easier on him because I had a lot of this stuff. So it happened again the next time we met, which was October. So we met again in October. He's like, I'm still waiting. He's like, he literally just sent it when you got here, so I still need to look over everything and kind of like see what the extent of this case is. But again, like, I'm pretty confident. I just had a case like this that they didn't do they didn't do enough to serve them, so the case got dismissed. We won. So I'm feeling pretty confident that we can do the same thing for you. So I'm like, okay. So the next September, October, and November, so last month of November, when I called him this time, and I just talked to him on the phone, and this time I wasn't able to talk to him. It was another lady who called me, and she was like, he's dealing with, family issues, so he gave me this case, but we're moving forward with the motion. She was like, I just want to let you know, like, everything that we're doing, we're going to go directly to the state before we fight it, like, in trial. Because they're like, sometimes if we go to the state, we can kind of let them know, like, this is where you're lacking at, and instead of it coming out public of this is how you chose to handle this situation, we can just dismiss it here, and it doesn't have to go that far. And she was like, we feel pretty confident that we can do that. And I sent her a piece of paper to show that I did an address change within that time, so they should have known that they could have sent paperwork to that address to be able to contact me. So she's like, this is perfect, this is like good enough what we need. And she sent it in. She's like, I sent you a copy of everything that we sent in, so we're just gonna wait to see what they say. And I had went back to Buffalo. When did I go back to Buffalo? November 7th, November 12th. And while I was there, they emailed me back saying the prosecutors said that they don't feel like they failed to reach out, but due to other reasons, we agreed to dismiss the case, which was like, Lord, I thank you, because I would literally forget that this case had even been reopened because I was so confident and so comfortable in the fact that I trust God enough to say, this is going to be dismissed. I'm not going to have to worry about this. It's going to be done, and it's going to be done for good. And I know God is just going to handle it. Like, I literally would forget until I had to either be in court or I had to remember that, okay, you got to call them or something like that. So when they sent me the email, I was like, oh, right, I do have this case, but Lord, I thank you because I knew that you were going to allow this to be dismissed. And my public defender was dealing with something with his family, and I was even reach out to him, let him know, like, I'm praying for your family and stuff like that. So even if it was for that little interaction of me being able to intercede with him on behalf of his family, like I don't take anything for granted. Like, I don't feel like anything that I go through is just by chance. It's always for a reason, and it doesn't matter the outcome, how big or small the outcome of it is. I'm just grateful to be able to be there to help somebody in their time of need. And I feel like I would let him know, like, he's an amazing public defender. Like, I feel like he's gonna go so far. Like, he was willing. Like, it was, when I say it was night and day, it was literally night and day. Like, he was willing to fight. He was willing to go all out. And I let him know, like, same thing. Like, if you need me, like, listen, I'm here. Whatever I can do to help as well, let me know, so that I can assist, because again, this is my life, and I want to do all that I can to make sure that this excuse me, to make sure that this that I win. That's what I'm like. Even if we, like when you send out the motion, like I don't want to take nothing. Like I want this case dismissed. I don't want no plea deal, no nothing. Like he documented that to say like I wasn't willing to take no plea deal. Like if we gotta go to trial, we gotta go to trial, and we just gonna fight it in court. But luckily, it didn't have to go there. By the grace of God, He was on my side, and I am very, very grateful that I beat this case and that it's just done. Like literally standing in God's word, and it's what 4 years later, and it's finally over. But I had to be patient. If I would have took a plea deal back then, like this still would have been on my record. This still would have been something that I could have been faulted from certain things or doing certain things with, and I was not willing to allow that to happen. I was like, I just want it dismissed, and that be that. And that's what God did. So now I can actually say that this case is done for good, and that is how I beat my case, trusting and believing in God, and knowing that God was always gonna work it out. Like just be patient. Don't try to take the easy way out because you feel like it just you ready to get over it because you ain't got no patience. Literally, just be patient with God and allow Him to do what He do because His plan is the best plan and it's gonna always work out. You never know what the outcome of it is going to hold if you always give in to the easier. Sometimes, even though it's not easy, even though it's frustrating, it's best to go the longer route. So this is just me saying to everybody, like, if you are in a situation where you gotta either take a plea deal or go to trial, I wouldn't take plea deals. I really wouldn't. I will if you got God on your side, allow God to use that situation for your good and really be willing to change your and turn your life around. Like change and not continuously do the same things, but be serious about what you want, how you want it, and say you're gonna do better. But taking a plea deal, it just makes it easier for these prosecutors because they don't have to do no work. When they know you want to go to trial, they'll likely they would rather dismiss it because they don't want to have to put the work in because they have so many other people to work with. And taking a plea deal is just easier for them. It's like, okay, you take these plea deals, you got to pay all these fines, you got to do all these requirements, community service with some of them, jail time is like, don't, don't, don't take no plea deal. Just stop taking plea deals. Fight for your life because it matters, and allow God to fight for you. Allow Him to do it for you because the battle's already won. Our job is to just trust and believe that He's gonna do it. But my goal is to really, really help transform these jail systems. So hopefully I can start like a nonprofit or something to better assist with these jails. Maybe even get in a team that would like want to just go in and just clean and disinfect so that people aren't constantly getting sick and it just needs a better system and we need some humbleness within these police officers. I watched this show called 60 Days In, which was really really good. It's basically like correctional officers, other police officers, security guards who go into jail for 60 days to see if they can find concubine and to see if they can find like drugs and stuff like that. But a lot of them can't even last one day. And that would, I feel like police officers, as a part of training, should have to go to a different state and experience the jail systems for at least 1 to 3 days just so it can humble them so they're not being this prideful person because that's really what I feel like is a percentage of police officers who really really want to do the right thing, but then there's also the percentage that's prideful who's only doing it because they were bullied and now they feel like that's a sort of authority that they can have, or people who just want to bully people, and it's like this is not okay to be this type of person. Like they should really have to experience what it's like to be in jail and nobody know, but go to a different state, be in jail, and as a part of training because they need to be humbled. A lot of these police officers that I'm just looking at them like this is really sad. The way they carry themselves, the way they talk to people, like it's just sad and it's embarrassing as human beings that you will really treat somebody like this. Like you really that cocky that you feel like you can just look at somebody and treat them as like the as scum because you feel like you got a uniform on. Like that makes no sense to me. But at the end of the day, God is God, and when you got God on your side, ain't none of that. Ain't, no weapon formed against you will ever prosper. Like when you got God on your side, you good. We always win. There's no losing over here, and that's what I stand on, and that's how I walk. Like, that's not me being cocky. It's me being able to stand on God's word confidently, knowing that the battle's already won because His word says it. Like, this is why I'm able to walk the walk and talk the talk that I do, because I know what the word of God says, and this is why it's so important to know your word, because when you know your word, you can stand on it confidently because you understand it, you know it. You're not just thinking you know it because of what somebody else said. Like, you really know it, and that's the main thing, is really knowing it, so that when the enemy tries to come your way, you got every scripture that you need to come right up against him and say, nah, that's not what my God said. And every single time you will win. But you just gotta be patient. You gotta live in humility. It's not even. You gotta let your pride go. That's not easy. And you gotta allow God to use you the way that He wants you to be used, not the way that you want to be used. So that's just a little food for thought. But I'm gonna get out of here. The sun is leaving me and it's getting real chilly, so I got to go. But that is my story, and I hope it helps someone. Love you. Bye.